The elements of character, they're very diverse. There's not a single element. There's many of them. Probably the one that young people probably need to work on the most is perseverance. Perseverance is required in everything that is significant in life. How do you build perseverance? Is really, it takes conscious effort to buckle down and do the things that have to be done and quit doing the things that don't need to be done. I learned early on, I started noticing a real difference between military culture and civilian culture was this thing called honor. And I realized in the military there's this elevated valuing of honor. And I realized that my civilian students and young civilians aren't introduced to the whole idea of what honor is. I mean, they know, they hear the word honor repeated over and over and over, but honor in terms of leadership is something so deep inside of us that I say it's the heart of our character. And all the other elements of character are built upon honor. And as long as we maintain our honor, it helps us maintain everything else across the board. And I think it's been so downplayed in society and in culture that we don't talk about honor the way MacArthur talked about it when he said duty, honor, country at West Point in 1962. So I harp on that, especially with college students. Learning how to live honorably. Honor is how deeply and reverently we live every day by our personal morals, values, integrity, honesty, and all of these moral character traits that are talked about all the time. It's how we truly live each and every day according to those principles and those ideas. The third thing that I harp on a lot is trustworthiness. I say trust is our greatest asset on our balance sheet because it's so tenuous and it's so hard to build, and if you lose it, you never get it back to its original luster. And the example I use is a mirror. If you break a mirror, I don't care what you do, how long you work on it, you can never get that mirror back to its original position and shape. The cracks are always going to show, and where that's valuable, especially for a young person, is relationships, because leadership is a relationship between a leader and a follower. So leadership happens in this microscopic interaction between a leader and a follower. The influence, the definition of leadership is influence. It's the leader influencing this follower. So when you zoom in on leadership, it's happening in a moment, in a space between two people, in a relationship between two people. And the only way relationships survive are effective is as long as there's trust between those two people. And it's the same thing with relationship between boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, spouse, children, fathers, mothers. Once that trust is sacrificed, it's never fully regained. And I learned this teaching business and learning it from sales reps. Trust can take years to build, and it can be destroyed with one word. If character was destiny 2,500 years ago, well, it's still destiny today. And now I've been around for over 50 years now, and so I've got the wisdom of being able to look back on people that I've known for 50 years. And I realized as I was thinking about this that's an absolute truth, undeniable truth. The people that where they're at today, they've got where they're at because of who they are. And that's all character is. Now character is made up of a lot of different things like honesty, integrity, and all that. But character, the most basic definition of character is it's who you really are inside. And it's something that I can't see. Or I liken it to a light in a box. You can't see the light, but you can see the beams coming out of the box, and those beams tell you the quality and the strength and the value of that character that's inside that box, but you can't see the true character. So their character, a young person's character, ultimately is going to write their life story. Every chapter in their life story will be written by the kind of person they are, because the kind of person they are puts them into every position that they ever get in their life. success, failure, or whatever. So fact of the matter is, what we're talking about here is character development. And ultimately, the problem that young people have is schools aren't teaching character development. We've kind of left that up to however you're raised and whatever happens. And the beauty of it is, if you grew up in a culture that maybe that didn't value things like honor and honesty, so your character may not appreciate that. But the beauty of what I'm talking about character development is character always changes. I mean, because what I consider to be honesty today or moral today is a lot different than what I considered it when I was 18. It changes. And if it means it changes, then it tells us that we can cause it to change. And we can manipulate it ultimately to become the kind of person that we need to be, to become the kind of person we want to be. There's a segment of the young population, you know, high school to college, who know that there's something missing in this world that's bigger than them, and it's this thing called character, you know, that will have a huge impact on the outcome of their life. Leadership is something that you almost have to learn in practice. You can learn leadership traits and best practices and all that will help you in your journey, but you really do have to get into leadership, I think, to truly learn leadership. So the best thing you can do as a young person who wants to be a leader is learn how to be the kind of person that it takes to be a good leader. And those are skills and traits that can absolutely be developed. It takes conscious effort, intention. You got to sit down and start figuring out how to say yes to things that need to be said yes to, and no to things that need to be said no to.